Hi there guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero Show with me, your host Simon Conboy. Now, as I'm sure you all know, it's draft day today, so I'm quite excited. Also got the Manchester Derby, which is a big deal for me as a Man United fan. So, going to be a great day of sports. Was hoping to get top 50 prospects list done. Unfortunately, I just have not been able to find the time with the other recordings today, other stuff that I've been looking to do. But I do have an updated top 25 prospects for you all, just in time for the draft, or at least it should be up just in time for the draft. I'll be very annoyed with my internet connection if it's not. So I did one of these about a month back. This is my final and updated version, and just before I start, I'll just give you guys a few thoughts, which, whilst most of them aren't entirely original, I do agree with a lot of the draft nicks on some of this stuff. This year's draft class, just a few comments. The running back and defensive back classes are loaded. I haven't seen a group of running backs this good possibly ever. Similarly with defensive back, both of these have like top end talents and a lot of depth. I think you'll be able to get a decent DB easily in round 2 that might go in round 1 in some other years. And running back, I expect a lot of teams to wait on them once the top few guys are off the board because of the amount of quality there. Conversely, I don't like the defensive line group at all. Garrett is a freakish prospect in terms of his athletic skill set. I don't think his tape quite matches it, but I understand why he's so highly talked about. I love Jonathan Allen's tape, the shoulder thing's concerned. Beyond that, not a massive fan of this class myself. Defensive tackle, I think, is poor group. Defensive ends, there's some depth, but I don't think there's much high ends there. The offensive line group is really poor. I don't think there's any high-end tackle prospects. There's a couple of decent guards at best. I think it's a really poor group. There's a lot of teams that need O-linemen this year. I like the receiver group. I don't think there's a true top-tier wide receiver in this class. I like Mike Williams, but I think there's been a lot of prospects. Like, he's kind of like a poor man's Mike Evans or Des Bryant type player to me. Not quite got the same physical tools they do, not quite got the same speed or quickness, but still a very good prospect. And I think there's, again, a lot of depth to that group. I think, again, there'll be decent wideouts available through the first 3 rounds. Tight end class is great. Absolutely fantastic group this year, on the same level as that running back and DB group. I could even see 3 tight ends going in round 1. I don't think they will, but it wouldn't be out of the question in terms of the talent. And the linebackers, I really like the top end of the linebacker group this year. Not so sure about the rest of it. I think it falls off quite heavily after the first 4 or 5 guys are taken. So my number 1 overall prospect in this draft is Myles Garrett, the defensive end from Texas A&M. Like most people, he's just got an incredible physical skill set. The Peppers comparisons are very appropriate. You do not get a lot of guys with that body type, that level of athleticism. I don't know how long it will take him necessarily to adjust, especially when he ends up with the Browns in all likelihood. It might take a couple of years like it did with sort of Mario Williams or Jadeveon Clowney to develop. But I think once he does, the sky is absolutely the limit for this kid. He is the top prospect in the draft. My number 2 is Leonard Fournette, the running back. He's the best running back prospect I think I've probably seen. That's between him and Peterson. I think Fournette offers you a more rounded skill set. I've heard people criticise his ability to catch the ball. I've seen some really good catches from him. I don't see a particular issue there. Runs with power. He's got high-end speed, which you don't often get that kind of combination too often. Shows vision. He's got some quickness to him. Can beat people with lateral moves as well as the power moves. I can't see him being a bust. I just think unless we get some kind of Trent Richardson type issues with him, I think he's going to be an absolute monster from day 1. Number 3, Jonathan Allen, the defensive lineman from Alabama. I love his tape. I think he's got the best tape of any defensive player in the draft. You see power, you see some good moves to shed blocks, good tackler, plenty athletic. Reminds me of Geno Atkins, which is an incredible compliment. I don't know too much about the shoulder concern and if that will cause him to drop, but I think he's going to be a day 1 starter, and he's one of my absolute favourite prospects in this year's draft. At number 4, I've got Reuben Foster, also of Alabama. Benefit a lot, of course, from having Jonathan Allen in front of him, but this is an instinctive thumper with great range, very, very good tape. Again, shoulder concerns, some off the field stuff. But I think this is essentially a more physically talented Donta Hightower. I think he can be a leader and do a lot for your defence. I think he'll have some versatility. If he can cover really well, I think he'll be an all-pro. So he'll be a day one starter, and I think he'll be great. The fifth player I've got is Malik Hooker, the free safety, specifically I think from Ohio State. He's got very rare range as a free safety. Could improve his tackling technique, but he's got elite ball skills. There's not really a lot to say about him that hasn't already been said. Only 1 year of tape, I think that's the biggest concern, but he's got an Earl Thomas-esque skill set. Could be a great safety for years to come. Number 6, Jamal Adams, the other safety. Very, very good tape. Big fan of his. By all accounts, is a great leader and just a great kid all round. True in the box safety, reads plays quickly, attacks holes intelligently, and is a solid tackler. I expect him to be a day one starter. It's hard to find too much of him directly in coverage. If he's great in coverage, then he's possibly the best player in the draft. Heck of a player. I expect him to be a day one starter and be very good. OJ Howard at number 7, the tight end from Alabama. It's a shame he wasn't used more in the passing game, but he's a kid who stayed on to learn to block. He can do so. He's got an exceptional skill set. His athleticism's off the charts. He could be an all-pro very early in his career and have a Gronk-like impact. Potentially finding a guy with this kind of skill set that can also block is just incredible and helps an offense no end. Heck of a player. Love him. Number 8, Hassan Reddick. I have been watching him quite a lot over the last week. This might be my favourite player in the draft. It's probably between him and Jonathan Allen. Love those two. Does a little bit of everything on tape. I think he's got a great range and versatility. I think he could be a real weapon for a team. As I've said previously, I think Arizona would be a perfect landing spot for him to think what Darryl Washington used to do. I think that's what I would like to see Hassan Reddick doing. In a 3-4 being used all over the place, doing all kinds of different things. I think if he can cover like an NFL high-end linebacker, this guy could be one of the best in football within 3 or 4 years. Number 9, first corner off the board, or on my board, is Marshawn Lattimore, corner from Ohio State. He's got all the traits that you look for to be a number 1 corner. Good athletic prowess. Should be, I think, ready to play day one on the outside and should be able to do himself justice. He could end up being a really, really good one. Not quite on the level of Marcus Peters or Patrick Peterson as a prospect, but not too far off either. Number 10, I've got Dalvin Cook, the running back from Florida State. Off-field issues aside, I'm not really taking them into account here. Other than injuries, where I've got information, I use it. Dalvin Cook, a versatile, dynamic runner. The Jamal Charles comparison's somewhat appropriate, but I don't think he's quite got the top-end speed, but shows great vision, good burst, can catch the ball out of the backfield, looks like a modern NFL running back. I think he's going to be a very good player from day one. Number 11, I've got Christian McCaffrey, running back from Stanford. It's hard to really pick between him and Cook. I think they're more similar than perhaps some people give them credit for. Similarly, dynamic receiver runner, probably the best receiving running back I've ever seen. He's got wide receiver skills at that position. A very smart runner, more athletic than people would think, probably because he's white. And you don't see that running back these days. But I think he could end up being what people thought Reggie Bush would end up being day one. I think he'll be a really good one. Number 12, Marlon Humphrey, the corner from Alabama. Now, I've seen him fall down on a lot of boards. I still think he's the second best corner in this draft. He's got good size, runs well. It's the ball skills things why people have knocked him down, and you can see it on tape. But I think he could be like Janoris Jenkins type of corner for a team. I think he's going to be very, very good and ready to play day one, which I think is important in your corners. If you're in desperate need of one. Number 13, one of my absolute favourites, Alvin Kamara, the running back from Tennessee. Not a huge amount of tape, but my goodness, what there is impressive. His lateral movement is incredible, shows some pretty good vision. He's a lot more powerful than he looks, and he can catch. Not a lot of experience, but some of the best tape I've seen. I think he will be a start for a team day one. I think someone's going to be very, very happy if they scoop him up in the 20 to 32 range. Number 14, Gareon Conley, the corner from Ohio State. Don't know what to make of this legal stuff. It may see him go undrafted, which would be a shame because he's got great physical tools, plays the ball incredibly well in the air. I think this is why he's rose above Humphrey. Unfortunately, I think his issues preclude him from being a first rounder, but I think he's a very high-end talent. I hope there's no truth to this stuff, of course, the kid and for the sake of everyone. Number 15, Mike Williams, wide receiver from Clemson. He's a power receiver. To me, he is a poor man's like Des Bryant, Mike Evans type player. Locates the ball really well, makes tough catches, good hands, and he can run after the catch. He just doesn't quite have the speed of those absolute top end guys, but I think he'll be a very good player for someone. Number 16, Derek Barnett, defensive end from Tennessee. I think he's the most consistent lineman in the draft. I think he plays the run quite well. I think that's what makes him the most ready to start day one. I would expect maybe to see a Terrell Suggs-like development where you see him play really well against the run early in his career and get pressure and maybe not ever be a huge sack guy. He could develop that much like Suggs did. Number 17 is Corey Davis, the wide receiver from Western Michigan. Put up ridiculous numbers in college. He's a great route runner. He looks like an NFL receiver in college in terms of the way he runs routes, catching the ball, precision. I think he's clearly a smart player. Could be Pierre Garçon light. I think he starts day one and the team is very happy to have him. Number 18, Obi Melifonwu, the safety from Connecticut. Looks like he plays with instinct. Sometimes I don't know if he knows what he's doing. Good range. Reminds me of Clinton Dix. I think he'll be a good one. He's been watching his tape a lot lately. I think some of these maybe it's a bit of recency bias, but man, I was very impressed. Number 19, Forrest Lamp, played tackle, but just everything about him looks like a guard. You can see him walling off, showing more guard techniques in his run blocking than you might see tackle ones. I expect him to be a stud, Josh Sitton type guard from day one. I think he's going to be very, very good. Number 20, Cam Robinson from Alabama, played tackle there. I think he would be a great guard on Lamp's level. And he could be a solid right tackle if he develops better hand use. And I don't think he does a great kick step, but he's a very effective run blocker. That's why I see him at guard. I think he can definitely develop into a tackle, but I think he's a day one starter at guard and could be very, very effective there. Possibly a Pro Bowler. Definitely more upside to him than Lamp, I think, in terms of his skill set. Number 21, John Ross, the wide receiver from Washington. He's got perfectly reasonable, serviceable receiving skills and obviously that absurd speed. I think he's going to be a dangerous player early in his time in the league, and he could end up being a superior version of Deshaun Jackson. I think he's a better overall football player at this point. If that develops at an NFL level, I think that's what we'll be looking at. Number 22, I've got Solomon Thomas, defensive end. This is a player that I just watched his tape and I can see it. I can see why he's being talked about this way. His physical skill set's incredible. I just really dislike, the film I've seen. For every great player, I see about 2 or 3 bad ones. He could end up being one of the top players in this draft. There's no doubt. It's just a case of whether a team can get it out of him. I didn't see it on tape. I wouldn't be comfortable taking him particularly high up in this draft, but the upside is, enormous. And number 23, Jabril Peppers. I think he'll be a safety in the NFL. From Michigan, one of my favourite players in this draft. Absolutely love the kid. I've been on that bandwagon for a while. Incredible athlete, tough player, good tackler. I think you want to use him early in his career while you possibly get him to learn those more traditional safety type coverage skills. Use him like the Cardinals been using Dion Buchanan. I think he'll be very good in that role. In terms of playing early, I think going to a cover 3 team that will let him do that will probably be perfect for him. We'll see what happens there. I really hope this works out. I think he could be a fascinating player. Number 24, I've got Kevin King, the cornerback from Washington. Long rangey corner, runs well. I think he could be a more talented Richard Sherman. I don't know if he's going to necessarily be Richard Sherman. That would be an absurd statement to make. Sherman, I think is a testament to ability to press and tape study. And if Kevin King can apply those things, I think he is a more physically talented version and could be a great, great pickup. And number 25, Devin Njoku, the tight end from Miami. Just a freakish athlete. Could be Jordan Reed in a couple of years. I think that's who he most reminds me of. Size, speed, freak at tight end. Very raw. I don't know how much he'd necessarily contribute year one, but a couple of years down the line, he could be a terrifying weapon for a team. So just to sort of give you my 5 favourite, these are the players with my absolute seal of approval. I do not see them busting, and I think they will be the best players in this draft, or they're the ones I think are most likely to be the best players from this draft. I have Leonard Fournette, although I could extend this to a good, all of those guys I've got as first round runners. I think every single one of them will be solid. Jonathan Allen, I think he's going to be great, and if he falls, I think a team's going to be incredibly happy with the value they get. Reuben Foster, unless it turns out he's some kind of head case, excluding that kind of thing, I think he's going to be great. Nothing on tape makes me think he won't. Similar for Sam Reddick. This one's probably got the highest bust potential of the ones I've selected here, but I really believe in this kid's tape. Story's pretty good too. I think he's a great player. I think he will be. And Jamal Adams, because his game will translate really well. If he can get the coverage stuff, he should be an all-pro type player and one of the best safeties in the league. And the 5 players that I feel riskiest about, that I can see going in the first, second rounds, Solomon Thomas, for the reasons I stated above, just hate his tape. I think there's a possibility he might just be bad at football, but a great athlete. Mitch Trubisky, lack of experience. I don't think he's got a great physical skill set. It's okay, but I think if you're taking him in the first, I definitely think that's overdrafting. I couldn't envision him being a top player unless he's developed really well. Malik McDowell, similar reasons to Thomas, just hate his tape. Charles Harris, I think he could end up being good. I like his pass rush ability. I don't like taking him too high because I don't think you'll get too much impact early on unless you're looking for a situational rusher. I think he'd be too lightweight for an NFL run game. And Juju Smith-Schuster, because I hate his tape. Do not think he improved too much in his time in college, and absolutely needs to work on his receiving skill set, not just rely on his physical prowess to be a success in the NFL. So there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with some of these rankings? These are very much my own, so definitely interested in seeing what people think. Give us a shout, comment section below. Cover Zero on Facebook. Find me on Twitter at Simon Conboy. I'll do my best to get back in touch with anyone. Hopefully, going to have a live stream up later. I'll post up information on the Cover Zero Facebook, on Twitter, and probably on a couple of the videos as well. So if you want to check that out, especially if you're over in the UK and you may have no one to watch it with at 1 o'clock in the morning, check us out. I'm sure we'll hopefully enrich your viewing experience. So check that out. Check out some of the other videos. I've done draft previews for every other team, and I'll be posting up, of course, my draft reactions over the course of the next week. So here's to round 1. Here's hoping it's a good one. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you get the player you want, unless it's the player I want and you're picking ahead of us. And go Bucks.